What is up, everybody? Happy Monday. It is Man Cave Monday, and we have a great guest to join us today. But before we get into checking out, this is beyond a man cave, though. This is like a collection. This is a historian type of collection. You know what I mean? But before we get into that, a big shout out to sponsors of the show, Quick Trip. As always, handling it down. You know, if you don't have a Quick Rewards app, make sure you get it. Be sure to check out their hot spot. They got all the good stuff. And if you're coming to the draft in Green Bay, Quick Trip, they're everywhere in Green Bay. They're going to have all the essentials that you need if you're tailgating, if you're having a good time, you're out and about, you want to get something to eat, you want to get your beer, you want to get your ice, you want to get whatever you need. Quick Trip's got the hookup. And, of course, Nicolay Law, big friend of Quick Trip. He's giving away money every week through the Quick Rewards app. So be sure to check the Quick Rewards app. Look for Nicolay Law. And also, if you get hurt in an accident, of course, Nicolay Law has got you covered, help you with handling the situation with the insurance companies and whatnot. Nicolay Law, the only lawyers you need when you get hurt. So let's get into this thing. We have, let me bring in my guest. How you doing, Jack?
Matt, how are you? Happy St. Patrick's Day, and there's no reason for anyone not to be wearing their green right now.
You know what I mean? Dude, I'm wearing it every day. I'm always celebrating St. Patrick's Day. But so let everyone know who you are, what you do, and then we'll get right into this thing.
I'm Jack Giambrone. I live in Dayton, Ohio. I was born in Rochester, New York. Came to Dayton many years ago. I'm a retired college and professional football coach. I did that for about 25 years. And I became the athletic director at Sinclair College here in Dayton, Ohio. And I'm considered a Lombardi historian. And my passion for Coach Lombardi, the 60 Packers, the NFL of the 1960s runs deep. And hopefully tonight, as we walk around the collection, you'll be able to appreciate that and kind of bring you those childhood memories back home.
Yeah, I love that because the Vince Lombardi historian part I think is awesome because Vince Lombardi, like I don't think that you could ever have enough information on him and enough stories. You know what I mean? Because there's so many stories. Even today, I'm sure today I will hear stories I never heard of before and different things. But yeah, the Vince Lombardi, like anytime, obviously like a collection is huge, but just anytime like anyone like even like older than me like that was around and Vince Lombardi was playing and just get those stories and get the stuff. Vince Lombardi, the biggest legend I think in the NFL history.
Yeah, man. When I began coaching, I was a very poor college player, but I loved the game. I thought the game had a lot to give, not only myself but also other athletes. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to coach. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to organize a practice plan. And I read a book named Coach, and it was about Coach Lombardi and his philosophy and his style and the ability to coach each position intimately. And I put it away, not knowing if this was for me or not to begin my coaching career, and read another book by Bill Walsh, and then another book, Rick Neuheisel, and I came back to Coach Lombardi, and it just spoke to me. It was simple, it was great technique, and doing it over and over and over again until you perfected it, and that really spoke to me, and that's how I coached my football teams.
So, what year were you coaching? Like, what? Give us a little background, like
Sure.
what you were doing for your coaching.
Yeah, I began my coaching career in 1988. I went back to school to get my advanced degrees at Ohio State University, which is a really good source. It brings a lot of panache when you're going around looking for a coaching job. So I started my coaching career at Otterbein College, a Division III school in Columbus. And then I got the very good fortune of going to Eastern Kentucky and under the tutelage of Hall of Famer Roy Kidd. And Coach Kidd really taught me a lot. I came back to Ohio State, and then I got involved in NFL Europe. And this is where the George Kuntz story comes into play, linebacker for the Packers. And I coached George for a couple of years. The World Football League went all back to Europe again. Spent 10 years at Wittenberg University, and then my final 3 were at Wilmington College.
That's awesome. So you were coaching George Kuntz.
Yeah.
What was it like though? Like being a coach. I first of all, NFL Europe. I remember that I used to watch a lot of NFL Europe because it was cool because like the players would wear the helmets of the team that they represent in the
Exactly.
NFL, and
Yes.
that was awesome. I think that. What do you think about that? Like, I wish that they would bring that back. I think it sucked that they took that away.
Yeah, Matt, well, it started in Europe, right? They had three teams there. I think the London Monarchs were the first World Bowl champions, and there were the only three there. And I think this experiment goes a lot deeper than on the surface because as we look to expand the NFL, look what they've done. They've already done it before. The blueprint's already out there. So they didn't have enough teams in Europe to really play a full schedule. So they brought seven teams domestically to the United States, one of which was the Ohio Glory. And again, very good luck. Paul Warfield was our NFL advisor. Hall of Famer Larry Little was our head coach. Dennis Thurman was the defensive coordinator. I worked with Dennis, and that's where George and Tom Ruin, our punter, were given the opportunity to play professional football at its highest level. And then we disbanded. George and Tom went to the respective teams. And one of the greatest moments I have is in Super Bowl 32, where they both met one another. And that was a real proud moment as a coach.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think I think it'd be cool to bring, even if it wasn't NFL Europe, if it was like it could have been like some Europe, some here. I don't know like how they could do it, but I think it's cool to have a place for the players to go that want to or need to get that time, and coaches too, right? Like coaches.
Oh, Matt, without a doubt, it's a good training ground for young coaches. So it served a number of different great purposes, not only for the players, but administrators, people that wanted to be front office folks in the NFL, players looking to move on, and scouts looking to evaluate talent. It was just a great lead, and funded by the NFL. Each team put in their pool of money that funded everything. And the salary structure was really interesting because the quarterbacks all got like $25,000. The running backs got $20,000, and everybody else got $15,000. And the way you earned your money is they kept all these stats. So if you were number one in rushing, you got an extra $5,000. If you were number two in rushing, you got an extra $2,500. If you played a certain number of games, you got X amount of dollars. If you made the playoffs, a certain amount of dollars. So guys back then, could make a decent living. And if they were good, it got noticed by the NFL and the scouts, and they were brought into training camp and signed and go on from there.
Do you think like looking at like XFL or like maybe not arena as much, but like the what's the other one, the USFL? Do you think those are like comparable to those days at NFL Europe?
Yeah, man, I do. I think that NFL teams now do a great job of scouting. They've got huge scouting staffs. They've got relationships all over the country. You overturn a rock, and there's a Division III kid who used to play lacrosse, now is winning a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
And they're just everywhere. And I think, the XFL and the summer leagues, I think they really do a good job of getting kids exposure. And that's all they ask for. They just want to be exposed and get an opportunity to play at that next level.
Yeah, Kurt Warner, he was in an arena football league, right?
Yeah, bagging groceries, right?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite stories in the league. He played for the Packers for a little bit, and he wasn't there very long, but he stopped in. All right, so we're gonna get into this collection. I want to get to a couple comments here. People are chiming in.
Sure.
What's up, Greg? He said, hello, Matt from Strawberry Plains. Can you remind me of the dates, draft dates, and what are your plans for the draft? I think the first night is the 24th, right? April 24th, 25th, 26th. I believe those are the dates. I'm going to be there. I don't have exact plans. I got some stuff working. I don't want to like say what it is yet until I know for a fact. I don't want to be a liar. But I will definitely be there a whole week. I'm taking the week off. That draft is going to be awesome. Do you plan on being there, Jack?
No, I probably will be busy up here with college and school and some of the camps that I'll be involved with in the summer. But I'll toast all the Packer draft choices to its hilt, though.
Yeah, I've never been to a draft before because I'm not one for traveling, but it's in Green Bay. I think it's gonna be awesome. Like where they have it set up. I made a video earlier, a little short video. I actually didn't post it yet, but I was over by the Lambeau Field earlier today, and I was kind of showing like where they're gonna put the stage. And because I was very curious, like where are they going to put this? The kind of Packers, I think, kind of came out and said like where they're going to put it, right, like off Oneida Street for people who know the area, and
Yeah.
that's probably the best spot for it because there's a big parking lot for the put the seats up and like have all like the players like the who get up there. I won't be in those seats probably. I will be somewhere probably drinking, but I'm going
But
to be there watching.
But Matt, I'll tell you, the war room experience is really unique, and every team runs, their draft and their war room very, very differently. And there's usually this big long table, and depending on who really pulls the trigger, it could be the owner, it could be the GM, it could be the head of scouting, and you get all of the scouts around the table that are the top scouts, and then you on the back wall are another like couple dozen chairs, and there's where the lower level scouts are, the kids that will scout and will have like fourth and fifth and sixth round draft choices and maybe invites to camp. And the dialogue around the table is fascinating because when they get to your guy, then you've got spot number 11, and now it's your guy. There's three or four scouts that'll talk about it, and then all hell breaks loose. And then they're on the clock, so they've got to make a decision. And normally, the boss pulls the trigger, and that's who they go with.
Yeah, I think it's wild like to be in control of the draft like because someone picks and they might pick your guy, and now you're I don't know if you're scrambling because I think that they're like super prepared, but like it seems like it's a lot of time like when we're watching and we're waiting, but when you're the one that's got to pick because if you're wrong,
Yeah.
that's a rough thing. I'm gonna get to a few more comments and then we're gonna start showing this thing off. What's up? Shout out to Lambo Leo. Super
Yeah.
chat $1.99. Big shout out to Lambo Leo. I appreciate you. He's late, but he's present. You didn't miss anything yet. We're about to check out his man cave, which is more like a museum. How many picks do Packers have? I'm not really sure. I know that they want more. I don't have that information like exactly right here, but I will be before we get into this showing off all your stuff. Heads up to everyone. Tomorrow night I will be live at 7 p.m. Central Time with Jimmy Christensen, and then on Wednesday I have Alex Stroh from ESPN Milwaukee. He's joining me. He used to do a lot of live streams with me back in the day, and now he's big timing over at ESPN Milwaukee. So it'll be cool to talk with him. All right, but we're gonna get into this and take us on a little tour. So what do you want to show us first?
Well, Matt, we'll start in the office. I'm very, very fortunate to start my day here and end my day here. And this is where the collection began. So we're going to flip the camera a little bit.
There we
And,
go.
this is the office. But to my left is you're going to see a set of pictures that are signed. There's 9 of them. And there's another set of the pictures that are downstairs. And they're signed by the person in the photo with Coach Lombardi. For instance, you've got Sonny Jurgensen here in the photo. You've got a classmate that was very influential in Coach Lombardi's life, Wellington Mara, in that shot. And then when the collection begins to really expand, you get people that want to add to the collection. And this is Dan Curry who read about the collection and sent that note to me. And you got others. You got Jerry Kramer in that. So that's immediately to my left. And as we pan out, you're going to see this wall in the office. Coach Lombardi's famous game. Coach Lombardi was on Time magazine cover. Coach Lombardi was also on 3 Sports Illustrated covers. And they are right there. The infamous Coach's Last Ride, then the 2 Sports Illustrated covers with the Redskins. And when you talk about name, image, and likeness, Coach Lombardi would have been a jackpot in name, image, and likeness. His name, image, and likeness is on a ruler. It's on a milk carton, as you can see there. It's on a tie. And believe it or not, everybody, he's even on a fishing lure.
That's awesome.
And those are the things that are in the office. They're kind of fun things. And then we've got a mini gallery wall. Coach Lombardi put out a tape series. And again, when we talk about him coaching, this is the cassette tape series where he covers every position on the football field. In the collection, we have every book that was written about Coach Lombardi, and we have every trading card that Coach Lombardi was ever on. And as we pan and we take a look at the other side to my right, you can see some of the gallery of pictures. And one of my favorite pictures in this room is this one right here as we head towards it. And it's a drawing of Coach Lombardi, as you can see. And it was done by Carl Rupert, and Mr. Rupert signed this. And the crazy thing about this is you see Coach Lombardi's image. When I get closer, the whole entire picture is made up of just repeating the word Lombardi. Watch this.
That's awesome. That's art. That's like the definition of art right there.
And that's Mr. Rupert's signature for us. And it is one of the greatest, like you said, artworks that we have in the collection. And again, as we pan out from the gallery wall, we've got some really neat things with the books and the different memorabilia, the different statues of Coach Lombardi.
Can I ask you a question real quickly?
You sure can.
I don't want to cut you off, but so Vince Lombardi, like obviously what he is today, like he's an icon. He's like the definition of NFL. The Super Bowl's trophies named after him. And when he was coaching, like when did that happen? Was it after he was? I'm sure people enjoyed him while he was there. Obviously, they're winning, but when did he become like iconic? Was he respected and revered while he was doing it, or was it like afterward? Like, wow, we witnessed greatness right there.
That's a great question. I think it began really after his loss in 1960, the second year with the Packers. He took the Packers to a world championship game against the Eagles at Franklin Field, and he lost to them. And he walked in the locker room, and some of you will know this story, told them that, hey, I'm very, very proud of you, but this will never, ever happen again. And he was right. He goes 9-1 in playoff games. He wins 5 NFL championships and wins the first 2 Super Bowls. And I think he became an icon right after that, where he began stringing world championships. And he went from an icon to a legend then as he wins Super Bowl 1 and 2. He leaves, goes to Washington, has colon cancer, passes away, and then just immortalizes in his passing with the Lombardi Trophy. So he was an icon in defeat. He was a hero in victory and a legend in passing.
Yeah, and he seemed like he was just such a good dude. Like he was a good person. Like he wanted, he had good values. He did all the right things.
Yeah, he did. He was a mass attendee every day of his life. He was an altar boy. We'll get into a story when we go downstairs. He was practicing to be a priest. And if you're an Italian Catholic person and the oldest in your family, there's only one job for you. It's the priesthood. And we'll talk about how Coach Lombardi left seminary school and where he went from there.
Yeah, so let's move on to the collection. Yeah, because I want to talk to you too about like how he started, but I'm sure you have pieces that show it because obviously he was with the Giants, right? And he wanted to be the coach of the Giants, but they didn't want him.
That's right, which I think was interesting. So we're gonna leave now, and we're gonna go into the abyss here. We're gonna go into the dark, and like I said, and I know Drew's listening, and Drew, you need to call in because these people want to come and want to have pizza and Woodson whiskey. So make sure you're calling in. So
I think Drew is probably hammered. He was playing golf all day.
Oh, I know. Well, he lives the life, All right, so here we go. We're going to have 4 rooms. This is what we're kind of greeted with as we walk down the stairs. Um, kind of like
Is that stadium entrance sign? Is that like is that from somewhere? Or is that just a picture? Like
no,
what?
Drew. Matt. That's a sign, but it's a made up sign. It's not an original one.
Oh, because I wondered if it was like because it has that old type of feel. I like that.
Okay, well, then I'll show you something really cool here in 2 seconds.
All
So
right.
as you come in, there's going to be 4 rooms down here. This is as we turn the corner, as we're welcomed by the sign. We come into the Lombardi timeline room, and when we
Oh.
redesigned the room, this idea came from actually the Green Bay Packer Hall of Fame. And as you walk into the Green Bay Packer Hall of Fame, on the right-hand side, there was a timeline, and we really wanted to get our guests to get a good feel about Coach Lombardi and his life and times. So we have a timeline from Coach Lombardi's birth all the way to his passing. So on the top, on the bottom of the timeline are photos in his life. On the top of the timeline are world events that kind of shaped his thinking. And everyone that comes, it's a chalkboard, gets a chance to sign it and leave a message for us here at the collection. So that is the first wall as you turn the corner. And like I said, his name, image, and likeness is on everything. But Drew, you said you'd like the sign. I've got one for you. This is taken off of an old stadium under construction. And as you always see in those NFL films, there it is.
Oh, I like that.
So it's taken off an old stadium, and NFL films, would shoot that before the locker room. And that is the other one. That's the notice inside the locker room of the gambling policy. And as you can see, Pete Rozell's name is on the bottom.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah,
that
Paul
is.
Horning should have read. He should have
Oh,
read that one a little better.
oh yeah. I don't know if we talk about that one. But these are again, more pictures of Coach Lombardi, and the people in the picture has signed it for us. There's Don Horn, there's Skoransky, and there's Willie Davis back there. That is the official Fred Wyatt, who did a Super Bowl, in the picture for him, and then other ones back there that are signed. This is the beginning of the timeline in Coach Lombardi. Coach Lombardi was born June 11th, 1913. That's his baby
That's
picture.
awesome.
His grandparents, Coach Lombardi's dad, Harry, Mom Matilda, Izzo. They lived in Sheepheads Bay. And then again, during that time, we really wanted to kind of get an idea of what was going on in Coach Lombardi's life. And so the timeline talks about these events. Immigration. Coach Lombardi and his family were first generation Italian Americans. The Titanic sinking and the 19th Amendment taking place. And as we go down, we take a look at a real special picture. This is a picture of Coach Lombardi's confirmation, and it was considered Mrs. Lombardi's very, very favorite picture.
All right.
Again, as we zoom out,
and that's tough too because, like you mentioned, that they were like first generation immigrants, Italians. That was not easy for Italians, Americans coming to America. Like they had it pretty rough.
Yeah, all immigrants coming to the country who didn't speak English fluently had a challenge. So it wasn't just Italian Americans. There was many of them. In fact, my grandparents were first generation Italian Americans coming over. So I kind of can understand Coach Lombardi's view. Again, some of the fun things before we turn the corner. That's that iconic Sneezer's ashtray, from '59.
Yeah, and that's that picture of him in like a cafe, right?
Yes, exactly.
So what is that picture from? Because I've seen this picture. I posted before. I just think it's an incredible picture. Like, where is this and like what's going on here?
That's Sneezer's restaurant, and he would just and it's not like today where, Coach LaFleur would walk into a hamburger joint and be mobbed. He could go and he could sit like this and have a hamburger, have some breakfast, and not really be bothered.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. He's at Sneezer's restaurant, and that's the ashtray from it. There's another one there.
That's
And he's just,
awesome.
just having breakfast and just kind of enjoying his own personal time.
I love that piece. That's absolutely awesome. We have a question here for you from Lambo Leo, a friend of mine. He says, Jack, how did you collect most of your items? Because like you're obviously a historian. We talked a little bit before, but
Yeah.
let everyone know, like, how did you collect most of this stuff?
Well, I want to also acknowledge Lambo Leo too. His story about how he began collecting and his mom's poster really hit home. I think that was wonderful, and I congratulate him for keeping up the family tradition, the legacy, and honoring his mom. So, Lambo Leo, thank you for your presentation a couple weeks ago, and
Absolutely.
it's a great story. Thank you for sharing that with us. Um, in the beginning, a lot of the things, and this is the first table, and again, you see a lot of kind of fun things on his image and likeness and 60 Packers type of stuff. Some of it has come from eBay. I made sure to vent it really well that it is original. But now, Lamboleo, the things that we now collect, I want to stay to the museum side and the sides that are truly historic. So they come through one way it comes through auction, and another way it comes through people that hear about the collection and before it launches into auction or launches into maybe eBay, we get contacted, and we once we find it to be something that's authentic, then we work our way to an agreement of then purchasing it. So that's how we do it.
That's awesome. Yeah, this collection as well. So that Lombardi Avenue street sign,
Yeah.
what's that there? Is that like one of the originals? Like what's going on there?
Yeah, that is an original. When they began changing, this was the one that came down and the new ones went up.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So was Lombardi the first one to have? I would assume the first one to have a street named after him.
Yeah, man, I'm going to say so because
Yeah,
as you do
because
a timeline of that, I'm going to say, I don't know if it was Curly Lambeau, but everyone after that, then, Coach Lombardi passed and then everybody else came after him. So I would imagine, yeah. So that was taken right off of Lombardi Avenue and replaced with a more modern one. And the
they
chair is an old stadium chair from the old Milwaukee County Stadium.
no kidding.
Yeah. And here's a fun look at the number of the chair.
That's awesome. 15.
Yeah. So
That's
as we begin to turn, again, we are in the timeline room. We have that all the world events, and we've got another kind of really cool table. And we're getting more historic as we go. There's programs of him being involved at Fordham. That's his first year as a head coach, and of course Army Navy, where he was a coach. We get some other, Packer Glory Years album. There's a cool little alarm clock and bobbleheads and things like that. This is a stadium bench seat from the old stadium back there in wood. He was a great gift giver, and we'll get more into that a little bit later. But we bring him back up to the timeline, and now he's a coach at St. Cecilia High School. This is his wedding picture of him and Mrs. Lombardi
all right.
at St. Cecilia High School. His first championship actually was as a basketball coach.
All right.
And we go down.
I didn't know that. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he coached basketball and football. He taught physics, chemistry, and mathematics. And he was Coach Lombardi always talked about leaders and educators, and leaders are made, not born. But he was gifted. He was born a gifted teacher.
That's awesome. That kind of reminds me. Obviously, he was first, but like Mike Holmgren came from being a teacher. He was a teacher, so I wish I'd have known that back then because that's something that they have in common. But yeah, I think it's cool. I think it makes sense if you can teach, you
Yeah.
can teach.
Yeah, he was a very talented teacher. This is a really cool item that I got. And again, in terms of craziness, this is a Vince Lombardi V-neck T-shirt. And
So that was his.
Yeah, he again, name, image, and likeness. He hawked these things, and because it was Vince Lombardi T-shirt, people they flew off the shelf. Here's
That's
a really
awesome.
neat item. This is a Vince Lombardi wine bottle.
Yeah, you can't get that no more.
No, and there's the case for it.
That's awesome.
Coach Lombardi had died, and he was awarded posthumously Hall of Fame bust. And that is the pin that his son wore to accept Coach Lombardi's bust at in Canton on Hall of Fame weekend.
That's awesome. How do you get something like that? You kind of
And
talked about how you got some of it, like,
yeah,
but like that pen seems like a personal thing that the Lombardi family would have not wanted to lose.
yeah, Matt, it gets left somewhere, it gets dropped somewhere. People don't know what
Yeah,
it
and I think
is.
yeah, I think at the time too, like we were talking about before we started recording, is like some of these things is like at the time they don't seem very significant, but then like 40 years later, however many years later, it's like, well, this is really awesome. But at the time,
Correct.
it's kind of like, it's just a thing.
Exactly. That's exactly right. When he left the Packers and he went to the Redskins, the Redskins were so excited they began to publish bumper stickers, "Hail Invincible Skins," and that was part of their campaign in Washington to celebrate his arrival. Again,
So
we did it.
I don't mean to cut you off, but like,
No,
so when he went to Washington, was that like this like the huge thing? Was it like because like Lombardi would be like only one compare him to is Belichick, right? So
yeah, Matt, when
what
he
what what was that like when he got hired? There was like, they had to been pumped, right?
yeah when he went to when
Then we
he
lost
went,
your video feed.
yeah, let me get back here. Do
You'll
we
be all
have it
right.
now?
What's that? Oh yeah, we got you. You're upside down.
Alrighty. What?
There we go.
I'm sorry, guys.
No,
When
you're good. You're good.
Matt, when he went to Washington, one of the things that few people know is he was given 5% of the team,
All right.
and that's a lot of money. Yeah, he went as general manager and as head coach, but to entice him to come, they gave him 5% of the Washington Redskins.
So, like, as of today, does like his family own that, or like when he died, did that go
Yeah.
away?
I think then it went to Mrs. Lombardi. Mrs. Lombardi passed away, and then his oldest son, Vince Jr., may still have possession of it, and that's millions and millions of dollars now.
That's awesome. I hope they still have it and doing well.
Me, me too. I want to be friends with him,
I know, right?
right? So we get back to his timeline a little bit, and Coach Lombardi's most famous Bible quote is Corinthians, and it talks about runners in the stadium. Only one will receive the prize, so run to win. And that's a Bible verse that we put up there. And as you can see, some of the things that are really interesting in terms of what shaped Coach Lombardi's life are the violent 60s, where in 63, where JFK gets assassinated, Martin Luther King gets assassinated, Bobby Kennedy gets assassinated, the Packers win Super Bowl I. Civil rights movement is moving. Neil Armstrong, lands on the moon. I guess these monumental just world events and some of the ways he thought about life in the world. So this is our last table, and we got a couple things. And in 2012, Leaf Card Company released a set of cards. It was only 144 sets, and there are 40 cards, and here they are, and they're beautifully done. They're just gorgeous sets of cards.
That's
And
awesome.
we've got a collection of cards. This is a print signed by Don Shula, a young Don Shula, and a relatively young Coach Lombardi.
That's fantastic. I think I've seen that picture before. I
Yeah,
haven't seen that sign, but like just on the Google.
up there are our larger prints. This is a print that's signed by Frank Gifford, and that's Coach Lombardi in the Giants with New York.
That's fantastic.
Coach and Bart Starr.
That's
And
I don't think I've ever seen that picture before.
this is now begins to be in some of the historic items. This is Coach Lombardi in the iconic West Point sweater, and this is a hand signed letter to a recruit. And I'm sorry, guys, that doesn't look very good probably on your feed, but this is a letter that he signed, and he's sent to a recruit at the time. We have a lot of fun when we do shows, and we ask folks, can you find Coach Lombardi? And you're going to see some things that there are only one or two of. This is Coach Lombardi's Ultra Boy picture from St. Mark's.
Dude.
There's only two in the world. One is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and one you're looking at right now.
That's amazing.
Now, I would imagine most of you won't be able to find Coach Lombardi. We'll zoom in a little bit, and I'll give you a little bit of hint.
Let me see if I can find him.
See if you can find him. If all of you have your choices, I'll reveal the answer for you. All right?
All right.
You ready?
Show us what we got.
Coach Lombardi is right there.
All right. I had no idea. I ain't gonna lie.
That's okay. Here's an easier one. Coach Lombardi is in this picture, and this is the Fordham 7 blocks of granite. We know which one he is, obviously. He plays right guard, number 40.
Yep.
And he's right there.
Yep. I was thinking that. It's kind of hard to see on my laptop, but I got that one in my head. I locked in.
Here is the 9th grade yearbook of Coach Lombardi when he went to seminary school. Everybody got him?
Yep.
I bet you do, because he's right there.
Yeah, right in the middle. I was gonna say that. Yeah. Oh, I'm 2 for 3, baby.
Good job, guys. And then we've got again an iconic picture from Fordham, the yearbook from Fordham again. This is the yearbook at St. Cecilia High School where Coach Lombardi coached basketball, as you can see right there. And
that's crazy.
And then Mr. Lombardi again is right there. This is another yearbook from St. Cecilia High School where Mr. Lombardi is the football coach getting ready for game day.
That's awesome.
And, we're going to talk about the Ice Bowl, I'm sure. This is a Associated Press picture of Coach Lombardi supervising the installation of the underground cables, the heating system. The yellow wire is part of the heating system.
Was that like the original heating system?
Yes.
The first time? Yeah,
yes.
I kind of figured that. That's awesome.
And that's this yellow cable is what is being run underneath the ground. And as you can see, that's the picture of it. Him supervising every step of the way.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. I've never seen what was actually. I knew that there's something under the ground that was heating it, but that's cool to see that actually was the original.
That's a piece of the cable. So as we come through here, this is the very first thing that I collected. This is a hand-drawn play by him, but this is a check. And one of the earlier checks, he arrives in Green Bay in January of '59. And I bought this check as an inspiration, and I kept it on my coaching desk as a constant reminder of the question, what would coach do? And that's how I made decisions from day to day.
That's magnificent.
This maybe even more magnificent. This is a check, and this is dated 9/3/1959. Coach Lombardi passes away on 9/3/1970.
Wow. Who is that to?
It's to Stove Drugstore.
Dude, that's awesome. Just like a random check.
We have
how these things get saved.
Yeah, we have the signatures of all the people of this family. This is Mrs. Lombardi's check, and there's an ironic twist to this. This is made out to the American Cancer Society. Both he and she die of cancer.
And they were donated.
Yep.
Yeah, that's something.
That's Vince Jr.'s autograph, and that's Susan's autograph.
That's awesome.
And a telegram that we got a chance to buy came through congratulating Coach Lombardi and the Green Bay Packers on their victory.
That's awesome. I don't know how these things get saved.
Yeah, I know it's kind of crazy.
I think it's cool though, because it's stuff that you when people have really cool collections, especially historic type of stuff. it's like stuff that you never would even imagine existed.
Yeah. And we'll end and we'll go to conversation here. This is a game ball that sat on Pete Rozelle's desk, one of his most prized possession because it's signed by every player on both teams of Super Bowl I. All the Packer players and all the Chief players. The coach Lombardi did not sign it.
Oh, that's interesting. So he's like the only one on both sides that didn't sign it.
I think the coaches never signed it, man. It was just the players, and that's what Pete wanted. And then we get a special one. This is a ball in Coach Lombardi detested signing footballs, but he signed this twice. And this was the East-West game where the pro players were playing, and it was out west, and someone stuck this ball in his hands, and he signed it twice. He was part of the West Side coaching staff.
So why did he sign it twice?
I don't know. That is a really good question.
Maybe he forgot. He signed it. He's like, I'll sign it again.
I have no clue.
They could have been like someone put it in his hands. He signed it. Some time went by a little bit, and they hand him it to him again. He signs it again. Yeah. But we have a comment here from Lambo Leo for you.
Yeah.
He says, thanks for the kind words, Jack. Absolutely amazing collection, and thanks for sharing. Got to ask, what is one of your favorite items? You kind of mentioned one of them, but what is one of your, like, a personal, just cool thing that you have?
I'll go get it. So everybody kind of follow me, and I'm going to go get it.
There we go. Let's roll. We're with you, Jack.
It is. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for entertaining me like you guys do. Appreciate that. This is really special, and it's a note written to me by a young lady named Diane Clements, and Diane was down on her luck, and she was in Washington D.C. and she was involved in a car accident and was on a blind date. And gentlemen that came call and said, "Hey, listen, I know you're down. I know you've had all kinds of challenges. Let's let's go out and have dinner. Let's go dancing and let's have some fun and see if we can kind of shake things up a little bit and get back to normal and have a really good night." But he says, I've got to do something first. I've got to go somewhere first. And if you indulge me, we're going to go. So they both go. And her comment was that, I went to this event and there's just all these huge men there. All she knows was these huge men. So they were in a church, and she knelt down, and both her gentleman friend and her kind of said a quick Hail Mary and Mass. And she looked over and she picked this up. And she stuck it in her Bible for 40 years until she heard about the collection. And this is Coach Lombardi's mass card.
So she was carrying this thing around for 40 years?
Yeah. She stuck it in her Bible, and she had heard about the collection, and she knew the card really didn't mean anything to her, but she knew if she sent it to me, it would always have a home. And she's right.
Yeah, and now look at it. Now it's on a mediocre podcaster's live stream.
with some crazy man from Ohio. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's awesome.
So, that's my favorite piece. We've got some historic pieces down here that we didn't get to in this first room. And let me get to those. Come on, Dog Nabbit. Hey guys, just goes to show you don't get old. Don't
Too
get
late
old.
For me.
Front, back, rear. You're stuck with me. But we got Coach Lombardi's cap, the cap that he wore.
Dude,
it's right over here.
Is that the one that someone stole?
No,
that's not the one.
This is Coach Lombardi's hat that was in the Green Bay Packer Hall of Fame. This is me giving it away to Brent Hansel of the Green Bay Packers for them to display. And there is the backstory of the cap.
So it was in the Hall of Fame, and now you have it?
Now it's back. I loaned it to them.
So they had it there for a while, and then you might need that back.
Yes. Yep. And in fact, that leads me to a good break at this point. A lot of people that will see this will say stuff like that belongs in the hall or that belongs in the collection. This is what I'll ask everyone to do. You pick the three top items today that you think should be displayed in the Green Bay Packer Hall of Fame, and I promise I will bring them up there when I come in the summer. I'll talk to Brent and we'll loan them to the Green Bay Packer Hall of Fame so everyone can enjoy them.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool having. I mean, I think the Hall of Fame is awesome, but I don't know that anything like belongs wherever. I think that you have a cool, setup. You let people come see, like you were saying earlier, that you have like students, right? That come, like a lot of people come and check out because this is basically a museum you got here.
Yeah, and Drew, I lost you. I'm sorry. I'll see if I
Yeah,
can re-engage you here in a little bit. But yeah, we're really proud of it, and I think Lambeau Leo will attest to this. I think that Drew will certainly attest to this. It's not the stuff, it's not the things, it's the emotion that the things bring to you. You
yeah,
know, as when Lambeau Leo, the first thing he showed us was the poster that his mom started him with. Every one of us can have that poster on our doorstep in 48 hours. But to him, it was really, really special. And
yep.
that's what captures collecting. And when we asked Drew, tell us what your favorite piece is. Drew went right to his box there of when his department gave him those medals and those pins and those patches. That was important to him. His challenge coin table, again, really, really proud, and it had nothing to do with the Packers, but had something to do with the emotion that collecting brings us.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I have like right here, my favorite thing um is the haha Clinton Dix jersey behind me because he came to my house, did a podcast, he signed it for me like right there. And like that jersey is not just a signed jersey, it's like a memory of that day of like that was a really cool day for me. And I'm not a big collector or whatever. Most all the stuff I have is just stuff I either bought at a store or like all the autographs are people either gave me or like they signed for me. So yeah, I think that's what's important about any collection you have or whatever the stuff you have. The stuff that you like the most is like stuff that comes with like a memory or like passion of like if it's something like even before your time, you're like that moment was awesome and you just want to have it. Are you still there? Oh, hang on a second. Here we
Do you
go.
have me back? All
Yep,
right.
I got you back.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. This is what happens again when you get old. But what we would like to have you do is when you come and visit us, and you're a fan of the NFL, the '60s NFL, and you see the '60s NFL, we want you to bring back memories of the two leagues that try to literally kill one another. The teams had these great geographic rivalries, right? The advent of television that brought the NFL into your homes after Sunday dinner. And then the advent of the Super Bowls. If you're a child of the '60s, those things you remember. Maybe what triggers your memory as you see the stuff is those great '60 Packers teams, the dominant teams. Maybe they're one of the most dominant teams ever in professional football. And then if you're a coaching fan, a Vince Lombardi fan, you come and you begin to go, yeah, I kind of get it now. I kind of get his ideas. I kind of get his philosophies. I get where he's coming from. And we hope those are the things that invoke emotion. That's why I do what I do.
Yeah, absolutely. I like his quote. Like I'll probably ruin it and destroy it. But reach for excellence or perfection, and you'll reach excellence. Which I think like if you listen to any motivational speaker or like anyone the positivity people, that's basically what they're saying in different words. They're saying you know you no one's gonna be perfect, but if you reach for that, you're gonna be pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully excellent.
Oh, well, without a doubt, you see that all over the '60s Packers locker room and around the stadium, and he strived for absolute perfection, knowing that if we miss one thing, that's still really good and probably better than anybody else.
Yeah, for sure. So, what about like Vince Lombardi, like that sweep play?
Mhm.
So, I I think you're the perfect person to ask about this.
Yeah,
That sweep play, like they were basically because there's videos of him explaining it.
yeah.
Like you don't see that now. You're not going to turn on ESPN and see Matt LaFleur be like, "This is a play we like to run." You know what I mean? But they were like, kind of like, is that what they were doing? Like, hey, this is a play we're going to run. Try to stop it. You can't stop it, so we're going to keep doing it. Is that kind of how that sweep was?
Yeah, man. In fact, John Madden, before he passed away, told a very funny story that he went to a clinic and Coach Lombardi talked about that one play for 8 hours. eight
Really?
hours dissecting the play. And he went through every position from guard, center, tackle, tight end, split receiver, wide receiver, quarterbacks, footsteps, what the fullback did, what the tailback did. And the play was relatively simple. The situation that he had though was it was taught to perfection. And when I talk about how he was a great teacher. He taught the play from every aspect of what the defense would give them. If they had a person outside, he would get kicked out. If the person was inside, they'd log him in, and the second guy would kick the second guy out. If it was a muddy track, how tight he wanted it to run to the tackle or to the tight end. If it was a fast track, how quickly could he get outside and get up the field? So, he taught every aspect of that play in great detail and spending hours and hours and hours in making sure that the play was done to perfection.
Yeah, that play, like that video always, like whenever I see it, like over on, social media, like I always stop and see it. But he's like,
Yeah,
we have a lane here, we have a lane here. He's like
yeah.
kind of talking through that. It's such a iconic video. But yeah,
Without a doubt. And he talked about creating an alley, and those are the
yeah,
terminology that we use today. In fact, when we're talking defense, is it's important to put somebody in that alley because if you don't, that plays down the sidelines and in the end zone. So that terminology is some of the same terminology we talk about today.
yeah. I think one of the one of the cooler videos like of our time is Bill Belichick when he was. I think it was there during like a top 100 a couple years ago. And he was on there, and they started talking about Vince Lombardi and like the admiration of what Bill Belichick of for Vince Lombardi, and talking about like the plays he had that still would work today and probably still do to a large part. I'm sure people are kind of running that same type of philosophy. Things might
Yeah.
change, but I think that. Do you think that sweep is that still being used today? And like is that like did he like I don't know, let's say invent, but like, I think everyone was maybe doing it, but they just perfected it.
Yeah, now it's more veer game. It's more zone blocking, and you don't have a lead fullback. And defenses are so fast today that to pull two consistently, it just
Yeah.
takes too much time. I mean, they want to get to the edge and get up the sideline as quickly as they can.
So it's like another version of it. Yeah. So they're like not
Yep.
doing yeah, and then that makes sense. Defensive players are a lot faster, but like Ray Nitschke, like guys like him, because like he would probably be bankrupt if he played in today's game. Because they'd
Yeah,
be
yeah.
finding him. Like he would just pick people up, I feel like, and just like throw them on the ground like a sack of potatoes. So is that like Vince Lombardi? Would that his teaching to just like murder everyone? Not literally, but like just be, because everyone back then, especially on that defense, just seemed like they were just maniacs.
Yeah, Matt, that's a good question. If you go back to Coach Lombardi's teaching, it was always about execution, not about violence. I
Yeah.
think I think those guys were inherently violent, and Coach Lombardi sometimes, looked at it as just part of the game. And you would watch old footage, and you would see Dick Buckus and you would
Yeah.
see Ray just take people and just mash the dog tar out of them on the sidelines, and everything would be okay. They'd step on them and they'd punch them, and they throw them down, and other people would jump on them, and just a day in the life of a football player. That's all it was.
Yeah, I got like I remember seeing this clip of Vince Lombardi or not Ray Nitschke. It always
Yeah.
stuck with me. I saw it when I was a kid, and he like literally like it was a running back, and he like just picked him up in the air and just
Yeah.
slammed him down
Yeah.
like he was a child.
Yeah.
And I was and they were just like, yeah, good tackle. I was like, that wasn't a tackle.
Exactly. Yeah, that's just part of it.
Do that today, they get arrested.
Oh, that's right. They'd be waiting for them. The police be waiting for them at the halftime at the gate. But yeah, it was a different time. But Coach Lombardi didn't teach violence, didn't teach anything outside of the rules of football. If you went outside those rules, you'd have to talk to them, and because he didn't tolerate any of that, because it didn't help him win football games.
Oh
Blocking, catching, running, passing, tackling, that won football games for him, and that's what he taught.
So, I forgot I was going to ask you. I just blacked out right there. But yeah. So, do you think that I lost it again? I almost had it back. But anyways, let's keep it moving. No, I forgot what I was going to ask. But I think I was going to ask Vince Lombardi. Like, do you think that like the rules of that time, like, were there rules? That was the question I was asked. Like, what were the rules? I mean, you don't have to go through it, but like obviously there wasn't many. It seems like because they were just over there clobbering, smacking heads, throwing people around, just beating the crap out of each other.
Yeah.
Were there rules?
Yeah, there were rules, but they weren't as detailed as we have now. You know, when you were speaking, I kind of go back to the tuck rule. You know, none of that verbiage was in the rule book in the 1960s or the 1950s. I think there were rules, and they talk about, you know, what's a forward pass, you know, what is pass interference, and they were very interpretive. They allowed the officials to call the game. There was no instant replay, and the game was played. It evolves, and some for the good, some for, as fans, we question. But here's a great story for everybody. So let's talk about instant replay. Super Bowl I was known as the game of twos. It was Coach Lombardi's second championship. The teams played with two different footballs. The NFL played with the Wilson Duke, and the AFL Kansas City Chiefs played with the Spalding J5 ball.
All right.
Bart Starr threw two passes, and then our boy Max caught two passes for a touchdown, catches the first touchdown. So the Packers go into halftime, and they're up, they're comfortable. You know, they're set their sights on winning it. And also, what makes it the game of twos is, for the first time ever, and only, two networks cover Super Bowl I, NBC and CBS. Both cover the game live. So as they come out and they begin lining up for the second half kickoff, NBC has come out of commercial and has joined the game. CBS has not. CBS is still in commercial. Second half kickoff takes place. Ball carrier gets tackled, and CBS is in a frantic mode. They somehow get word down to the sidelines and to the officials that, hey, we missed the second half kickoff. You need to re-kick it. And they do.
Wow.
The first time ever, and the first time that it'll never, ever happen, there were two second half kickoffs. Now, think about this one. Who was the poor bastard here to tell Coach Lombardi he had to kick it again?
Yeah, for real.
Who drew that short straw? But yeah, that's the legendary two second half kickoffs, because the other network wasn't joined in live action.
Yeah, today it's a tough luck.
Yeah, they re-kicked it.
That's an amazing story. I think I might have heard that before, but yeah, that's wild. Yeah, I don't think that they would do that anymore.
No. Well, you only have one.
Yeah, we only have one network now. But even if they missed it, they're like, yeah, that just.
Well, Matt, you got guys with these mittens, right? These bright mittens that come to the sidelines, and they will hold up their hands and then drop it down and put them behind their back, and that gives the official the okay It's a signal play. So if it happens, someone's getting fired.
Yeah, it does. Dude, I would love to have you on again to just to talk about like the more detail of the all the Lombardi stuff. You have so much cool stuff. We definitely have to do this again. And not even just the collection, but just the knowledge you have of Vince Lombardi. I think it's awesome because this is just for video. I'd like to get you on the audio,
Yeah.
just going through like Vince Lombardi because some people don't watch my lives, but I think that they'd want to hear us too. You know what I mean?
Well, if we're running out of time, let's do a quick look around. So
Yeah, show me some stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna leave the timeline, and this is the gallery wall, and this is the gallery of Coach Lombardi's kind of life. And again, when we talk about the people that hear about the collection, we're very fortunate enough that people, when they hear about the collection, want to be a part of it. So, we get things like that from Herb Adderley.
That's awesome.
We get things.
So that's to you.
Yeah, we get things like that from Willie Davis. We get things like that from Paul.
Dude, Paul Harding's my favorite player of all time. I have an autographed helmet over here. I don't have it set up yet because I kind of moved my stuff around. But I have an autographed Paul Harding helmet someone gifted me, and it's probably my second favorite thing.
So that's the gallery wall. We've got another. This is really cool. One of the most special items we have in the collection is this right here. This is Coach Lombardi's watch.
Wow.
That was awarded to him. It's engraved. And that's the photo match of him wearing the watch. I'm sorry about the light, everybody.
No, that's all good. That's awesome.
You
ever wear it?
I have on occasion, Matt, but I tried not to.
Dude, I'd be wearing that thing. I'll be at the bar like, yo, check out my watch.
This is the yearbook from St. Cecilia, and Coach Lombardi signs the yearbook from St. Cecilia. This is the ticket of the very first Lombardi game.
That's awesome.
This is Dave Robinson's kind of Super Bowl I, Super Bowl II coin and money clip collection. We got a chance to buy. This is a great check he writes to his mom and dad, and it's signed by 4 Lombardis. Mr., Mrs., him, and then on the back.
That's awesome.
So as we go from this room, we're going to head into the trophy room, and the trophy room is right here. And Coach Lombardi was a great gift giver. Those are the 4 helmets that represented some of his coaching career. Some great pennants. This is the tea set that Coach Lombardi sent to all the wives and girlfriends. It's from Steve Wright. It's from 1966. And as you can see, it's engraved World Champions 1966.
Wow.
That's a complete tea set there from that. Coach Lombardi was a great gift giver. Those are the cufflinks, the tie clip, and the money clip from 1965 championship. The game balls from, not real game balls, but the game balls we had made up to represent each one of his victories.
All right.
Super Bowl trophies. This is the Mud Bowl game ball of 1965.
Wow. What's that helmet up to the left of that?
To the left, that is Jerry Kramer's diagrammed helmet.
That's awesome. That's ridiculous.
A piece of the goal post from the Ice Bowl.
All right.
Coach Lombardi's phone in his office.
Oh, that's crazy.
This is one of the balls that he signed. Again, a lot of people buy game balls or sign balls, not his signature, but he signed this one because this was his first year in Washington and didn't want to get off on the wrong foot.
Oh yeah, so he's like, I guess I will.
Yeah. And these are kind of unique to Green Bay. This is one of those license plate holders from 1931. I thought it was neat. Really cool.
That's awesome. I like that.
I like that. And if you come around the corner, that is our dedication to Super Bowl I and Super Bowl II. The Super Bowl I items are on the left-hand side. Super Bowl II are items from are on the right-hand side, historic pennants. But I think you guys will like this. Coach Lombardi was involved in 8 World Championship games. Maybe I could give you a better look at it. Here we go. And we've been able to collect the original program and ticket of all 8. In fact, the tickets are all full-size tickets. So this is the one that he won when he was with the Giants, full-size ticket. This is the second one, known as the greatest game ever played, full-size ticket against the Baltimore Colts, where he lost Alan Amici in overtime. This was Coach Lombardi and the Green Bay Packers, first championship, the Eagles he lost, and then the string of victories. That's the 63, the 61 ticket.
So those are actual tickets?
Yeah, these are actual tickets and programs.
That's amazing.
That is the 62 championship against the Giants. This now begins their historic run. There is the 66. There is the one at Cowboy Stadium in Cotton Bowl, the 67. And there is the Ice Bowl ticket with the original program. So all of them are full-size tickets. And we just got this last one. This was the toughest one to get out of New York.
Yeah.
And we also have full-size tickets of Super Bowl I and program of Super Bowl I, and then Super Bowl II original program and ticket are right there.
That's crazy. This collection is wild.
We keep on going here. And we made a Coach Lombardi locker. A lot of fun with that. That's an original Packers sideline warm-up jacket.
That's crazy.
That's an iconic statue where you guys are. Again, another hand-drawn plays. That's Davey Robinson's helmet that he gave us. This is Don Horn's helmet that he drew up. Some of Coach Lombardi's awards, a Kramer jersey. This is really cool. This is some original newspaper articles from Green Bay during.
Can you flip the camera so it's like upright? It's sideways right there. There you go. There you go.
Is that better?
Yep. That way you can see.
There you go, guys. So this is the hallway that leads to the ready room. We got some photographs there and some pictures there. So this is the room we go to when we're setting up for shows. And the collection, we love being mobile. And as we get into the ready room, as you can see, that's the flag that flew over RFK Stadium when Coach Lombardi passed away.
All right. So that's crazy that you have that. That they don't.
I know. This is the 7 blocks of granite. Coach Lombardi is the right guard in the middle of the screen. You probably don't see collections that have this on the wall. This is kind of a fun thing. These are all the varsity jackets. This one is from when he was a Giant coach. Lombardi's Legends, St. Cecilia, and that's a 1950 Packers cape.
Wow.
Lombardi jersey. That is one of the banners that sat in the Ice Bowl Stadium. It was taken down. I can't tell you how I got it, but it was signed by Bart Starr.
He's like, we ain't going to talk about that.
Yeah, that's right. We're not going to talk about that. So that is the Ice Bowl banner. I think only a couple exist. We're doing a show in Canton, and we're doing a card show. This is a hand-drawn Coach Lombardi play.
That's insane. So that the hand-drawn, so is that like something he just like, do you know when he drew it up, or like is that just like something they found in his house after he passed, or like was that like during a game he's like drawing plays?
No, he was drawing plays to strategize against an opponent. And if I find the folder, I can tell you exactly what opponent it was and what game it was. He puts all the plays in manila folders and then puts the team and the date on the manila folder, so he's got a record. So it could be a Giants, it could be St. Louis, could be a number of teams. This is really cool. And of course, Coach Lombardi's Green Bay Packers don't attend Super Bowl III, but that is an original ticket from Super Bowl III, and we happen to get this on this program. His signature.
That's crazy. Like, why did he sign that, you think?
I would imagine that he was
Someone
a guest.
asked him?
He was a guest of Mr. Henson. Mr. Henson is the owner of Mack Truck. There is a relationship there that I haven't been able to figure out, but he was the guest of Mr. Henson at Super Bowl III, and someone came up to him and signed the program.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, Lambo Leo, you asked earlier if he's from Wisconsin. He's because he was late, but he's from Ohio. He lives actually near the Drew Cave. We're not going to throw out addresses or nothing, but
thank you,
Ohio.
And then our next show is going to be in Cincinnati, and we pulled some historic stuff. We've got a mini collection on all first members of the Hall of Fame. This is a first commissioner, Burt Bell, a white night ball. This is a letter signed by Jim Thorpe. Wow. This is a book signed by Red Grange. And we got a signature by this guy who could play a little bit of golf, but they had an exhibition with Coach Lombardi, and Jack Nicklaus signs it.
Dude, that's crazy talk. Like, yeah, Lombardi had some big friends, right? Like, he wasn't even friends with was it Nixon?
Yeah, he was a close Kennedy supporter, and Richard Nixon wanted him to run as a running mate till he found out he was a Nixon, a Kennedy guy.
Okay, yeah, I remember hearing. I don't remember the stories exactly, but he and like wasn't it with didn't Lombardi help? He reached out to whatever president it was that Paul Hornung needed to play in the championship game.
Yeah, Hornung was part of the active duty, and he reached out to President Kennedy at the time, and President Kennedy gave him a 48 or 24-hour pass, and he played in the championship game.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I remember like there was like a quote from it that said, "I don't think Paul Hornung is gonna end the war for us, but he could win the championship for Green Bay or something like that."
And with his connections at West Point, this is a letter from President Dwight D. Eisenhower to him, congratulating Coach Lombardi and the Packers. And the last part of this show is going to be a signed contract by Coach Lombardi. And this is Bill Forrester's contract. Some of the cool information is up here in the handwritten notes that Coach Lombardi told him about rules and regulations and bonuses if they achieve certain criteria. So that is the and that's only about 70% of our collection displayed. So we're really proud. We hope the viewers got a chance to enjoy it like we have, and you're always welcome. We are here in Ohio, and you know we love showing it off. We love talking about. I love talking about Coach Lombardi. And
yeah, me too. I don't know nothing, but I like to talk about him. We definitely have to have you back, and like maybe multiple times, and just talk about different. I think it'd be cool to have even like do a series about Vince Lombardi, like go through the path, especially like during the off season, because I don't think I've ever met anyone that knows so much. I know some cool people who like know some stuff, but like I'm not sure anyone like you.
Yeah, always, Matt. Anytime. Again, we want people to understand Coach Lombardi, his philosophies, his beliefs, and because we believe the message is as important today as it was way back when. Maybe even more important for our young people to hear about hard work, dedication, teamwork, commitment to excellence. All those points are really, really important, and we show it through things, and we get a chance to talk about his life and times.
So let me ask you this: Do you think, if Vince Lombardi never decides to coach, he goes into maybe be a lawyer, a politician, all the things he could have done, do you think the Packers are still a thing and in Green Bay?
No. I think Coach Lombardi came in a time where I think the Packers were 1-10, and it's been well documented. Cliff will tell you this, that without Coach Lombardi, this team could have packed up and moved. And what a crime that would have been. Now, Coach Lombardi probably would have stayed in teaching and coaching somehow, some way. He probably was a great salesman. He made sales training tapes for people, but I don't think Green Bay rises to the meteor type of influence in the NFL it did without Coach Lombardi. Here's another question I often get, and I don't know if I'm different than the person who knows them best, but people ask me all the time, would Coach Lombardi be successful today if he was coaching today's players? And his son was asked the very same question. So who am I to go against his son? And his son said, no, I don't think my dad would be as successful today as he was back then. And I said, I think they would be, because at some point, the players have enough money. The players are being paid millions and millions of dollars. At one point, when that financial security is in place, they want to wear a ring. They want a Lombardi.
Yeah.
And I think that he would have been successful if the environment was right and the player philosophy to his philosophy was in alignment. I think he'd have been successful. That's my take on it.
Yeah, and the other thing, not to go against his son because
Yeah. Yeah.
but I think that today's players, because they are millionaires, and that's what a lot of people talk about, like how hard it is to coach people who are, crazy rich. But I think the players, it's about respect, and they would respect Vince Lombardi. So I think that he could have been just as successful. I think that his message to the players would work today. I think that they would. I think it's all about respect, because they look at Belichick. People came to play for Belichick for cheaper. They would take pay cuts because they wanted to win a ring. They respected, like, hey, well, I know there we have a chance to win. So a lot of players like Randy Moss, all these guys wanted to go there, and a lot of them took less money to do it because they thought there was a very good chance you're going to win a ring. And it's not even that. I think it's about just saying, I want to play for him. And I think Vince Lombardi would have had that same thing where players would say, I want to play for that.
Oh, without a doubt. At some point, you've got the financial security, and it gets down to the things that I've always believed in, and some people may not. The game gets down to three things: if you can run the football, if you can stop the football, stop the run, and if you can get a positive point turnover difference. If you fumble and they don't score, and then you recover a fumble and you score 3 points, that's +3. I think that's a formula for victory. And that's what Coach Lombardi taught. He wasn't fancy. He didn't want to be fancy. He operated under the KISS method. Keep it simple. And everyone knew what play they were going to run. He just taught to perfection that no matter what environment, what team, what scheme you have, we could block it. And we're going to block it, and we're going to score. Man, that's how he taught his team.
I think that's, dude, so spot on about running the ball, stopping the run, and winning the turnover battle. Yep. I think that's exactly like what football is. Because like you could throw the ball all over the place.
Sure.
But even if you do get in the end zone, like those are such fast drives. Like if you can consistently run the ball and wear down the clock or wear down the defense and get points on the board, and then not allow them to do the same. And then obviously the turnovers, like if you're fumbling, you're throwing interceptions, you're not going to win games. And there's very few that win. I've seen a few Brett Favre games where he threw like 4 picks and still won, but usually that doesn't happen.
Yep. And Matt, in the NFL, if I could put you in a situation that I could predict what's going to happen, I could be Jones Junior high and go beat the Steelers. If I can predict what you're going to do by eliminating a run or eliminating a side of the field or eliminated, a player, I can compete with you. And those guys in the NFL are brilliant, brilliant minds.
Yeah, absolutely. This was an absolute blast. We're going to wrap this thing up. I work at 4 a.m. But I want to have you on again. I want to talk to you on the podcast, and maybe we could talk. We'll talk after this or like another day, and we'll figure out what we can do, because I think it'd be cool to have like a Vince Lombardi series and just kind of go through his career and his life and his philosophies and all that. And this was amazing, though.
Matt, thank you. Thank you to all the listeners. Appreciate you tuning into us, and I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll definitely do it again. So go Pack, go! Good night, everybody, and good night, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. We are gonna wrap this thing up, everyone. Big thanks to Jack, and stay tuned. And if you tuned in late, watch the whole thing. He has a great collection. I'll be posting some clips, and we're gonna be out of this thing. We got some music for the logo. Here we go. This is your music, right?
Oh yeah.